The 1970 education policy, unfortunately, survived only 2 years. For whatever reasons, in 2 years' time, the government thought it necessary to bring out another education policy and to make sure that this new policy would not be short-lived. It recommended a time frame. This was to be the education policy 1972 to 1980. In other words, the then government hoped that this new policy would survive 8 years and will be able to test out how good or otherwise it was. Objectives of education of the 1972 policy were to preserve and promote the ideology of Pakistan. Again, we see this recurring. The 1970 policy heavily recommended this. The 1972 policy picks it up. After all, we are an Islamic country, and without our own ideology and the Islamic ideology, our education would not be anywhere. And so, this continued from 70 into the 72 policy also. 2. To establish a national unity by promoting social and cultural unity through education. So what this 1972 policymakers saw was, we were 4 provinces, but we were Pakistan. And so the culture, the traditions were slightly different from one province to another, not markedly different, yet the policymakers in 1972 saw the need for promoting social and cultural unity, and it was to be achieved through education. The kind of stuff that goes into our textbooks, the kind of stuff that teachers teach and talk about in classrooms should bring about a change so that people are more accepting of other individuals also. Because a social setting is not just you. It's not just me or my culture or my province and my traditions. It's our culture, our provinces, and our country. That is the key. And the 1972 policymakers saw the need to make sure that the 4 provinces come together culturally, socially, intermix, get educated, and learn to live with one another in peace and harmony. 3. The objective was to prepare such individuals by building their character, who should be aware with the technical and social changes and who should have a sense of social betterment. So what the 1972 policy does is, it takes education one step further. It's not only limited to the intellect. It's not limited to the mind. It's not trying to develop only thinking individuals. It's also trying to develop caring individuals. That human element that really comes from the Islamic ideology, where you think not only about yourselves, but of other people around you. And so the social element of education comes out in the 1972 policy. Changes will happen. Societies change, individuals change, communities change, nations change for the better. And change has to be accepted. Only when change is accepted will it promote good means of survival. And that can happen through education only. 4. To promote qualities of leadership among students. The policy saw our students as future leaders of businesses, of organizations, of concerns, of whatever they did not see our students only as workers. They saw our students as leaders. And so, how do you train leaders? How do you train and educate individuals to be good leaders? This policy recommends that. And finally, to create a sense of dignity of labor. In other words, what you do is not important. As long as you do something. When you do nothing, you are not a contributing member in society. When you do something, you are. And so these policymakers saw and realized that all children will not be doctors and engineers and computer people and business people and so on. You need the electricians, you need the carpenters, you need the plumbers. And so as long as there was dignity of labor, you did not look down on another human being because of his job. That dignity of labor is what the 1972 policy recommended.